Welcome back to Politics as Usual. I am your host, Eric Wright, here to bring you the new topics to talk about some things that's going on in our community, give it the black perspective and the overall perspective. We're here on True Executive Radio, and this is Politics as Usual. Let's jump right in it to see what's been going on. First topic, there was an 83-year-old man in Alabama. They called him the Watermelon Man. He was mauled by two pit bulls, his neighbor's pit bulls. Now, this happened early in the morning, and when the authorities got there, the ambulance and everything, they got there around 3 p.m. He died of his injuries. Those dogs were removed from the property, and they are now with the animal shelter. A few years ago, there was a law that came out in Alabama called Emily's Law, and it was for a young white girl that got mauled by a vicious animal. I call them that because if you train them that way, they're vicious animals. And there's a reason why most of them are normally not allowed to be on your property, especially if you have homeowners insurance. Most of those dog breeds are excluded from coverage because it doesn't matter how much you love the damn dog or the animal. Eventually, if you put it in the right situation or if the owner isn't watching, it will kill something. And this happened to this 83-year-old man that wasn't bothering anybody, that just liked to plant his watermelons and sell his watermelons on the side of the road. So for everybody that's in Lawrence County, Alabama, and you know the Watermelon Man, my prayers and thoughts go to you. Since we're on growing things and we're talking about fruit, that was watermelons, let's switch to cucumbers. I guess cucumbers would still be a fruit because it has seeds in it. So there was a recall in cucumbers, especially ones that was shipped to Alabama. Now, the U.S. Center for Disease and Control and Prevention and the Food and Drug Administration continue to investigate two salmonella outbreaks likely connected to cucumbers. Total, the number of sick has grown to 380 people in 28 different states. So, of course, all of your southern states are included. So if you're in Alabama, you're in Georgia, you're in Florida, one of the outbreaks actually started from Delray, Florida. So keep that in mind. So all of us have been exposed to this. So please be careful eating and buying cucumbers. And make sure you're doing the proper thing with it. God knows we don't want you to put it somewhere else and you find salmonella in your hoo-ha. Next topic. So, a court system just ruled against the Fearless Fund. You remember a few episodes back, we talked about the Fearless Fund. The Fearless Fund was a venture capital group of black women that came together to support brown and black women doing business, to give them small business loans in order to grow their business and help their business be more sustainable. Now, this was a problem with some people that really didn't like that. They didn't like that because black women wasn't even 1% of the people that was given any loans through venture capitalists over the last 20, 30 years. God forbid that was a group that came together. They called it the Fearless Fund, and they were going to do just that, raising money to make sure they support black and brown women. And the court ruled that it may be unconstitutional, and they used a law that was brought up in right after Reconstruction. So people wouldn't be discriminated against because of their race. So they're using this loophole that is supposed to prevent people from discriminating against black and brown people doing business, but we see that most venture capitalists, they do discriminate against black and brown women. They are less than 1% of the awardees of any loans or grants. So this was a small effort, like it was a small band effort to make sure that black women receive some funds to actually get into business. But we know that the big corporations don't like that. They want y'all black women to go back to work. They don't want y'all to start your own business. They don't want you making no money. They don't want you quitting those good jobs and working hard for them so they can stay on the golf course or on their boat. They want to make sure your black ass is still at work and not trying to open up a business with these funds. And that is the real reason why this issue continues to go to court and they continue to fight this. Speaking of fighting, we caught another factory. General Mills this time in Georgia. There's a current lawsuit that's going on right now for General Mills in Georgia for decades of racism and discrimination of their factory workers. Now, what kind of racism did they face? Was it just name calling? Nah, it went a little deeper than that. It went from seeing KKK written on the walls. It went to black workers finding a noose on their desks and also telling them to go back to Africa. And this is what shocked the hell out of me. They say from 2005 into 2021, they made a mural in the factory. And this factory mural had the Confederate leaders on there. But get this, they used the mascots from General Mills brand. So the Cocoa Puff Cuckoo Bird, portrayed as Jefferson Davis, and Chief Wendell. You probably didn't know this, but that was Cinnamon Toast Crunch, Chief Wendell. That's the mascot. But he was actually depicted as Robert E. Lee, and this is what black people had to go to work and see every time they walked into the building. I do see how that could actually be a pain in the fucking ass to see that every time you walked in, a bunch of people that wanted to keep your black ass in chains and not pay you shit, and you still have to come to work and see these people every day. That would play on anybody's mind. So that is an active lawsuit. The dollar amount that they will be awarded, we don't know yet, but I tell you what, I hope all of the racism and the petty things that were done to the people in the General Mills factory in Georgia, they get what they need. They get what they deserve. I hope they do. Next topic. Remember we spoke about child labor, and we brought up a few instances where we see child labor laws being rolled back in the different states, being lessened and dampened because there's a shortage of workers, and there's some factories that'll do anything to get some asses in the seats to make sure people do their job. Now, one such company is in Montgomery, Alabama. Well, it's Hyundai. Hyundai and it's Hyundai suppliers. Now, we brought that information up because they were caught using minor labor. Yes, a minor. Yeah, using minor labor. Minors working 60 to 80 hours a week. Wow. They was really putting in some overtime. And these workers were ranging from 13 to 15. And they say they were on an assembly line, actually at the Smart location. It assembles different metal parts and turns them into car parts. And it's right outside of Montgomery, maybe 20 minutes away in a place called Luverne, Alabama. Then it's shipped to the factory in Montgomery, and they make it into vehicles. But again, they're looking for employees, and it's probably a minor because they don't want to pay you in the first place. We had a episode where we spoke about, will the workers in Hyundai finally galvanize and unionize themselves, and they did. They did, and it was a fight to the end. It was definitely a fight, and now they're just building up. Um, they're building up their numbers to make sure that they can vote on their president and everything else, so they can actually have representation there. But this is why representation is needed, because if everybody turns a blind eye, they will have kids in there working their ass off and they won't say anything. Now, remember, this is politics as usual. If you can't see through the bullshit, you always get fooled by it. Keep your head on the swivel.